Alright, how's it going YouTube? Stardust Accelerator here. Today's topic we'll be covering is how to use your extra deck space to its full potential. Now I know some of you might be wondering, how is this important? I don't even use all the cards in my extra deck. Well, I'm here to tell you that the 15 lucky monsters you occupy your extra deck is just as important as the 15 you side and whatever you choose to main. So here's how. The extra deck, especially right now actually, is really prevalent in the format and is an important toolbox to just every player. Deciding what you need and what can be left out can really like win you games and lose you games. Like I don't know how many games I've played where I've lost and I was like, man, if only I ran another Zen mains, or why didn't I run Utopia? Keeping that in mind, I find that choosing generic cards that help you across the board in all of your matchups is better than taking up a slot for one card that will help you in an obscure matchup or a situation. That one card slot can be huge when it comes to the extra deck. Um, One current example of a card like that can be Abyss Dweller. Um, so basically, Abyss Dweller, well, this card has an Exceeds material attached that was originally water. All water monsters you control gain 500 attack. Not really great, but it helps in some situations. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach one Exceeds monster material from this card. Any card effects that activate in your opponent's graveyard cannot be activated this turn. This is good in matchups like Dark World and Mermails, but really that's just about it. The best you can do with this deck against other matchups like Dino Rabbit or something is swing over a Sangan and just negate that. But they only run one of that, so it doesn't matter. And the same goes with Eclipse Wyvern. Like you're only really gonna hit or the same goes for Eclipse Wyvern. Like in Chaos Dragons, the only thing you're gonna hit is an Eclipse Wyvern, and that's the only thing you're gonna negate. So it's not really gonna help you much except in those matchups. Um, Going back to choosing what to put in your extra deck, this card can only be used in a select few matchups, whereas a generic Exceed like Gemini Pearl or Utopia can help you in all your matchups. They provide a big body, and Utopia allows you to protect monsters on your board and keep field presence. Um, I'm not implying that this card is terrible at all. It's great against Dark Worlds and Mermails. Like this card can win you the game against those. So alternatively, you can put it in the side deck, but I really don't feel you need to play these cards in your main extra deck, as they just take up a lot of slots, and there's other things you can use to win the game generically besides something so focused on a matchup. Um, Going back to what to put in your extra deck, it becomes clear that you can't just put random good Exceeds monsters. Like this card is good, but it's not gonna help you in just every format across the board, which is what you need to stay consistent and win in like a 15 round YCS or something. The same ideology can be used when you're building your main deck, but that's another video for another time. So when building your extra deck, there's three categories that go into it. The first one is what the deck needs to function in combo, what you need to get off your plays, what's your best plays, things like that. The second is generic monsters, which is, just generic monsters that get you out of all your situations that you just play in there. And the third is personal preference and like your personal experience, like what you find you need to use. With those stated, let's take windups as an example, and how these three categories help build an extra deck for them. Alright, so for what windups need to function in combo, right now windups need Shockmaster, Papal Operative, Zen Mighty, and Leviar to make off their most plays. Shockmaster, these three obviously for the Shock Lock, and this to make plays off of Rabbit and Rat and other banished cards. Next, you can move on to the generic category. So for windups, this is just the biggest thing. So there's a lot of different options. Cards like Tiras, Adrius, Maestroke, Ask Golem, Leviathan, Zen Tempo, and Zen Mains. Why I don't feel like this can be included in here is because this is limited. Like, any of these cards you can use against any matchup. This card is not gonna help you like against Dino Rabbit, as I said earlier, or Gravekeepers or something. Like, the only time you're really gonna hit something is if you hit the random recruiter, like Sangan or a Gravekeepers recruiter, and that's about it. 1700 attack is not very exciting. Next, we have player preference. Right now, in my personal windups, I'm playing a second Zen Mains and a Soul of Silver Mountains. I feel like I need the second Zen Mains. Like, through all of the playing I've done, I really needed to get off. Sometimes I need them to get off my combos actually to drop Shark, and other times I really need to stall, and I won't have anything on demand I can make besides the Zen Mains. As for Soul of Silver Mountains, the way I see windups, they need a way to keep their attention off their bigger plays and to help back row on demand, like help stop your opponent's back row. And this does both. Like, as soon as you summon it, your opponent's either going to get rid of it immediately, or you're going to be able to detach twice, Zing Zang Hu style, two of your opponent's back rows, and just negate them, and you can go off from there. Next, although it seems like Soul's matchups are quite limited, they're actually not. You can use them against agents and Chaos Dragons, well, trapless agents, because you could use this against regular agents with traps. The second effect to special summon free monsters is good. So when you get over small cards like Lila and Earth, you know, you can special summon a rabbit or a rat or something, so that helps. That also helps you make plays. So really, to sum it all up, your extra deck is really just about as important as your main deck, and your side actually, and it's going to need the same amount of thought as it does. As long as you take on your side and main deck, you're probably going to need to do that for your extra deck too, to get it working the way it should be working, and it needs to be working to give you the best results. With new sets coming out and new monsters put in the extra deck all the time, keeping these principles in mind will help you make the right conclusion when constructing your extra deck for your next regionals or YCS. But remembering what your deck needs to stay afloat and playing cards to get you out of most situations, it can become one of the most important tools in your entire arsenal. So that's about it, YouTube. Comment, like, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.